Good evening and welcome to another Come On You Spurs podcast. We're back in amongst the world of Spurs where 1 week we're up and next week we're right back down again. So this week joining me, we have got two regulars. So Ryan, how have you been this week, mate?
Frustrated, Carl. Very, very frustrated after that defeat. I don't know. I know we'll get into it, but I still don't know how we lost it. But hey, no days off for us. Win, lose or draw, we come on to the pod.
That's it, mate. That's it. This is therapy session tonight for everybody. And joining you, as always, is Patrick. How have you been, Patrick, this week?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Went missing. You went missing and come back, obviously.
Exactly. Like Terry killed me with that because as you know, I'm always active on the socials. I never go missing, but people genuinely thought it was real. Like people were messaging my DMs, like, "What's going on? Are you okay?" And then the comments underneath, "Oh, he's such a good guy. I hope he's all right." I was like, "Come on, it's banter. It's not serious."
Spurs can't do this to someone.
Exactly.
Surely.
That's it. So no, I'm good. Happy to be here. Max is a legend, so it's good to have him on. Obviously, Carl and Ryan, you lot are my family now. So yeah, man, let's get into it.
And as Patrick said, joining us tonight again, back is Max. Max, how have you been? I know you went this weekend, so even more of a depressing weekend for you, mate.
Where do we even start? Obviously the mileage that I've consumed to see that Portuguese, mate. They backed off of him like he had COVID. It's like why are we giving him that much space? It's ridiculous. Anyway, thanks for having me again.
Hopefully be better circumstances at one point, mate, and we can talk about a win. So obviously before we get into it, we'll do some of the socials. So obviously give us we're all on Twitter, as you can see, the handles and that are all there. We're on Twitter at COYS.com. The audio will obviously be out as normal on Tuesday. So those of you that listen to the audio, that'll be there ready for you. Let's get into it, boys. Now, on Saturday evening, stroke, maybe Sunday morning, one of the first persons to message me was Ryan, who was just like, I can't wait for Monday's COYS pod. So Ryan, go for it, mate. I'm just going to sit back tonight and let the boys work their magic. Ryan, get it off your chest, mate. How are we feeling about this weekend?
It's baffling to me. Like I said, how we come away not winning that game because they're not a good side. Man United, they are not a good. This is not Man United of the past. It's not a team to fear going to Old Trafford now. And the one weekend Ronaldo decides to not go back home to Portugal, rest up a bit and sulk. He comes back and gets natural, like Max said as well. The amount of time we gave him, we must have thought it was Phil Jones starting up front that game because no one went near him. The first goal, Eric Dyer could have stopped it. The hat-trick goal, obviously, I don't know who had who at that corner, to be honest. I think that was just a free-for-all.
Doherty was meant to be marking him, but also Romero let him get the run up on Doherty. Yeah. So it's bad defending from both of them. They're both culpable for me. So yeah, sorry to interject, but just wanted to get
No. I say and it's not like he's not good in the air either. The guy can stay in the air for days. It's not like he's not good in the air. I could understand if Doherty and Romero had him. If both of them thought, look, we both get on this guy in, leave someone like Fred just roaming in the box. That's absolutely fine. And it's not. I think that's probably the one game where I've actually watched is where we've had majority of the ball, and we were still creating chances. We were still getting in. Getting the ball behind their defence, but I mean, it's one of them games. Sonny didn't turn up again. It's not the first time. I think that's probably Bentancur's worst game for us since he signed. He looked a bit starstruck by the stadium in that midfield.
Well, it was quite funny because last week, Patrick, wasn't we, with Mickey, you kind of said, like, obviously we all sort of said, you know, Bentancur, we'd all have put him straight back in the side and he would normally reliable on the ball, calm and that. But as you say, Ryan, in the start of that game, he was giving the ball away so often, wasn't he? Getting caught on the ball. It was almost like he was trying to be too clever at times of like, oh, I'll let the player come as close as he can to me and then I'll pass it. But before he's realising it, he's getting the ball nicked off him in dangerous places.
He had a poor game, man. We just got to call a spade, and he was rubbish. Let's just be real. He wasn't good. And it's disappointing because we've talked him up so much. We know how good he is. his first game back, he slotted straight in, and it looked like it was effortless. But yesterday he was crap, and sorry, not yesterday, it's 2 days ago now. And unfortunately, he had a stink fest, and so did a few other players, and combined, we just weren't a good unit. Sonny had a really bad game. The thing is, people get onto Son, and it kind of baffles me because he's still one of the best players in the Premier League. His output shows that, his goals, his assists. I mean, they showed the stats of I think the top 10 most dangerous players in the league, and Son's at the top of the stats for every single category that matters. I know we all know, as Spurs fans, we know how good he is, and we can all admit he's not having his best of seasons, but the way people are saying he should be dropped and he doesn't, I'm like, for who? Who else is close to him? Like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, we got Bergwijn, we got
well,
Mora,
like I say, I've seen a lot of tweets saying like, give Bergwijn a game over Son, but I'm sorry, from what I've seen from Steven Bergwijn, I would not be putting him in for Son at any point.
I like Bergwijn.
The problem,
I think he's a decent player, but he doesn't touch Son. And just going back to the Bentancur thing, he just got caught on the ball too much. He was lacking, and it was a lot of mistakes on our half. I still don't know how we lost. I know how we lost the game. Don't get me wrong, but I still can't believe we lost that game. I don't know, man.
The problem is with Son. He's turned into that player where we annoyingly. It's like Kane. You kind of expect one of them to score each game. If one of them doesn't turn up, there's literally no one. There's no one in that team. How's that third highest goal scorer going to be from own goals?
I know.
You know what I mean? I don't know if you see that. I don't know how. What his own goals playing right wing or something?
He's the Brazilian own goals. He has been a perfect signing for us this season, and he's chipping in there with the goals.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And the team obviously that beat Everton, don't get me wrong, they're absolutely dire. Like at the moment, you can't really judge your players off of an Everton team. But you think that sort of confidence would have took us into that game? Obviously, the team was pretty much the same. Was it just Reggie in for Cess?
It was just Reggie in for Cess when Cess has picked up a thigh injury, I think.
Which is fair enough. You're not gonna. It's not one you look at and you think, "Oh, I'm gonna go cry about it." Like Cess is injured, blah blah. Like I'm more than happy for Reggie to start, but. There's a reason, obviously. I think you'd said, Pat, maybe. I'm not sure, but there's a reason Cess is now starting. He's actually been putting in performances. He got him behind against Everton. He's using his pace. Yeah, he's not using his ability that we've seen, obviously, and been going on for years. Like Fulham, just knock it past him or do a skill or just run. Like the wing backs need to be doing that. And you could argue Doherty's actually been getting better at that. He's up the pitch. The left side's still debatable. You could either. I'm more than happy either or Reggie or Cess. You could argue Cess at the moment, but the whole midfield, honestly, we made Fred honestly look unbelievable. I mean, it's just the Ronaldo strike is just it's a classic snapshot Ronaldo. It's going in as soon as it's left his foot. Why going across with this arm? I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Max, because I used to play in goal, and I know now a lot of pros or that will probably say to you that now these goalkeepers do go with this arm, but when you watch that replay, if Lloris goes with this arm, I think he saves that shot. But modern goalkeepers 100%. Seem to want to stretch across, don't they? But for me, I still can't be convinced that stretching across here gives you more than potentially going up with this arm. For me,
they do it all the time, and I still don't get it myself. And even like you said, Max, to begin with, Eric Dyer just backing off Ronaldo. You know what the guy's capable of. Get out to him and block the shot. He could easily block that shot. He's standing there with hands behind his back, backing off him. I just don't get it.
And we've been guilty of that, though, haven't we? In the past few weeks, you back off Neves and allow him. You back off Ward-Prowse and allow him to deliver balls into dangerous areas. And now you got Ronaldo, who right? This guy, any opportunity he gets to shoot, he will shoot. He won't look for a pass. He will take the option of the shot. So the defenders
it's not
have
even
to know,
that.
Get out.
It's like him. It's typical. It's Ronaldo. Like it's Cristiano Ronaldo. We're not talking about like Berbatov or someone like that. Even like they used to threaten, but it's Ronaldo. There should be like two people on him at one time. Look, think of these teams when Kane and Son were in that season where there's absolutely blitzing, no one can get near them, and then the start of the season after, teams start doubling up on them. Why do we not do that? Ronaldo's the most threatening player on that pitch. As soon as you see him in the starting lineup, you know he's going to be causing us problems. So fair enough, like he's gonna score. He scores one. I can take that on the chin. I can hear that stupid "two" like going around the stadium. And honestly, hear that 3 times. I cannot kid you how much I needed a couple of tequila shots because that was ridiculous. The second goal, it was. I haven't even watched it back, to be honest, because it's one of them you don't watch it back when you lose.
Reguilón was and this is why I've been saying people were jumping on me, but Cesc for me is the better player, man. I'm sorry, and I've seen it. I've seen enough of Reguilón to know that he's so poor defensively. The whole line stepped up in unison. Reguilón didn't. He was so slow. He had his leg out and his arm out, and then Ronaldo gets a tap in. If Reguilón just uses his brain, the guy's miles offside.
He hasn't got the defensive mindset.
Yeah,
Reggie. He just has, and this is a reason you could argue why we end up with like Emerson Royale. We end up with Reggie because they're players that, yeah, it's all well and good. Like if you play for Real Madrid and Barcelona, you probably don't have to defend, right? Because they've got the players to score like 5 or 6 goals a game, and the team's obviously in those leagues. But as soon as they come to the Premier League, like you could argue the wingers like Brighton and that, Crystal Palace, they're not pushover sides. They've got players that can obviously beat a man, and if you're not good defensively, you're going to get punished. And that's why Reggie, 100%, he's a nice guy and all that. We can all see it, and he loves the club, whatever you want to say. But unless you're actually putting it in on the pitch, it doesn't matter how nice you are. I don't really care if you're. It was like Ali, like, yeah, when your time's up, I'm not saying that time's up, obviously, but if you're not, you're going to get replaced. It's so obvious to see where Conte is going to buy. If you could pick 2 places, I'd more than happy the left wing back and right wing back.
Left and right wing back have to be replaced for me in the summer. They have to be. The quality there, like Doherty, we'll get onto him. He gave the ball away so many times for no reason. He wasn't under any pressure. We're in the final third. We're building up. And even Neville was like, oh, why does he keep giving the ball away? Even he was frustrated. And he's a commentator. Imagine how we felt as fans.
That's it. If you give the ball away a lot in this side, and we've seen it from Sanchez, if you pass backwards or if you give the ball away or you look uneasy on the ball, then Conte ain't going to like you because Conte is a man that likes to play it out from the back. He likes to pass it into the midfield and then see like the ball's over the top or pass it into space. But if you're not cut out for that, then I'm more than happy to say, yeah, you're going to be dropped because I'm Conte. I'm fully Conte at the moment. I'm still, while we've got him, I'm fully 100% behind him because I don't want to look behind what could be when Conte is not here. Do you know what I mean? It's like it has to happen now.
So let's go back to Ryan. Let's go back to the start of the game, I guess, because we were all saying before the game, weren't we? And I was quite confident going into this game, thinking obviously United at home, off the back of bad result, they will suit us. They're going to have to come out and attack. And as we know, teams that attack us, we perform better there because we've got the space to operate in up front. The game, how did you feel the game started? Because we were looking. The first half, I felt we played really well in an attacking sense, didn't we? We were causing them problems. You felt there was always a goal there. But obviously, we end up falling behind. But we were playing well, weren't we, up to that point? And even after that, when we get ourselves back in, we're playing well, creating chances. Doherty in the first half was having a reasonable game out there, getting inside, creating chances. It started off quite well, didn't it?
Yeah, I had no complaints. I watched the game with my brother, who unfortunately is a Man U fan, so it weren't the most pleasant of evenings that night. But like I said to him, once they got that first goal, you knew that their tactic after that would be sit behind the ball. Spurs don't break teams down. We will play them at their own game. We'll hit them on the counter attack. But every time we got the ball out to Kulusevski, you felt like you could. I think he was the only one in my eyes who had a good game against Man United. I think he was brilliant. Again, every time he got the ball, he was looking forward, trying to get Kane and Son involved, either cutting inside, going down the wing to put the ball in. But that's because they're a poor side. They've got Harry Maguire at centre-back, who is useless. Varane's fresh back from COVID. Dalot can't defend. Telles can't defend. You'd expect us to go at them. You'd expect us to trouble them more than they could trouble us, even with Ronaldo up front. You don't. At this age, I'll take Kane over Ronaldo. I'm not saying Ronaldo wasn't one of the GOATs or anything like that, but he's an aging player. You've seen him this season. He's not had a Ronaldo season, so I wasn't expecting what we got off Ronaldo. Let's put it like that. But I think the most annoying thing is controlling as much of the game as we did dominating the ball quite a lot, to then, like Max and Pat have said, all 3 goals, they're so unavoidable if you use your mind in the match. Like the first Cristiano Ronaldo goal, if, like Max has already said, get 2 players on him. As he's on the edge of the box, get Dyer coming out to him and Højbjerg or Bentancur going to him from the side. Block off any avenue. You know, if he's getting the ball from that distance, he's only got one thing in mind. He's not looking for Sancho. He's not looking for Rashford. He's not going backwards. He's going to take the shot. So just throw a body at him. It don't matter where it's from. Even if Reguilon comes in, leaves Rashford. Like I say, everyone knows Ronaldo's game. They know he lives for goals. If he gets the ball there and he looks up once like he did, there's only one thing on his mind. He's not doing anything different. So that goal is avoidable. But like I say, after that, we got the ball, some good attacking plays, dominated the ball again, and actually created chances, which led to the penalty. And once we did get that first goal, I thought we was going to run away from them. Then I did not see a loss coming, but it's Tottenham. So you don't know. I'm lying to myself.
Well, I think that was an annoying thing, wasn't it, Patrick? We get ourselves back in the game. And like I say, you were then thinking, right, there's goals here for us. We are causing them problems. And if we can just now keep it tight at the back and keep it sensible, I can see us going on. But within, a few minutes, you're again back behind. And again, it giving you too many uphill challenges to try and compete with, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, when they scored, like Ryan, I was confident that we would beat them. And when they scored, I was like, okay, cool. This is going to force us to play, because even Neville said it. He goes, the game was very tentative and very cagey, and no one was really doing anything. It was actually a snooze fest before the goal. I think we were the better team, but it was quite boring. So when they scored, I was like, okay, cool. We're going to kick into gear. And lo and behold, we did. Kulusevski, like Ryan's alluded to, was our unsung hero. He was great. He was running at players. He was causing problems. They couldn't live with him. He was dribbling past them. His movement he's a really, really good player. And he's only 21 as well. It's actually staggering how good he is and how good his ceiling can be. So he was causing them all sorts of problems. And once we got back into the game as in the penalty, I was like, yeah, we're going to go on and win this. And even you could feel the stadium was a bit nervous, because they know how good we can be once we get our tails up. But as soon as we conceded again, I was like, you know what? I don't know now, because Man United have got they've got the bit between their teeth now. We just gifted them a goal. That goal was so simple. It's playground stuff. And, Reggie, the other argument is someone could have tracked the runner, but I think Reguilon just has to step up with everyone else. If we're playing the offside trap, you can't get caught sleeping like that. And Carl, like you said, once we let them back in, it's difficult to then get back in the game, which we did again. And then we blow it away, give it away again. So, yeah, it's crazy. Like when you get beat by a team that have played well and they've outplayed you, you cannot, you obviously you're pissed off, but you're like, okay, cool. But we didn't get beat by the better team. They didn't outplay us. Apart from Ronaldo, even then, it's debatable if he had a worldie. We just gifted him 2 goals. Yeah, it's crazy. It's criminal, especially this back, business end of the season where you need the results. You can't be gifting games like that.
Well, it's that thing, isn't it? We've been talking about momentum and the fact that with the way the top 4 race is going, any side that can kind of put in some momentum and get 3 or 4 wins, potentially back to back, and put a run together, a bit like Arsenal have, unfortunately, you're putting yourself in the prime position, aren't you? And you're thinking, right, off the back of Everton, let's go into this game now. If we can get a win here, then we're starting to think, right, the momentum could be building. So, Max, do you think it's always been probably an issue with the club? Do you think sometimes we're beaten before a game starts when we go away to these top 6 sides? Because yes, we know we can get results at these grounds. We have done in the past. We can go to Man City and win. We can go to Old Trafford and win. But we don't do it often enough, do we? Do you still think we've got a major problem when we go away to the top 6 grounds and almost like a bit of an inferior complex that causes a bit of a problem before the game's even started, especially when the pressure's on as well to get a result?
I mean, you could argue the United game was like a perfect example, because I think going into the game, we were all confident. And then it's just after about 20 minutes of what we're watching, we're like, why was I even confident? It's just such a mind blow, as I know so many people that go like every away game, obviously all the home games. Away games are just I'm confident, but we've ended up losing, like, we've lost 17 games this season, right? And I just think, how have we lost this many games? It's honestly unbelievable. I was very confident. I mean, very confident against Man United. Obviously, just shows how things are going in recent years for them. You could argue as well, because you remember going back to United the way they'd like the Pedro.
Well, you'd
Mendes
write
at
it
the
off,
halfway
wouldn't you?
line.
Old Trafford.
Yeah, you'd be like,
it off,
we take a bit of luck, and then even that night we didn't get a bit of luck. But it just goes to show, maybe it's because we're not pushing for that 1-0. You go, if we go 1-0 up, I don't like, if we can take the lead at any time in that game. It's just we're always on the back foot. We're always one goal behind. Why does it take a goal to go a goal down for the players to suddenly spark up sometimes? So that's one thing I've never understood, and it's always been a massive frustration. Like Pat was saying, if Reggie has stepped up, this is going obviously back to our defensive, because it's always defensive issues with Spurs, isn't it? Season after season, we don't have. You could argue we don't have problems scoring. It's just either Kane or Son, but we're still scoring goals. It's nice to obviously Cooley, but Reggie steps up. It cancels out that Ronaldo goal. If Emerson Royale the other day against Burnley steps up, they don't score that goal. It's like, it's always defensively, and if he does hang around, I beg to God he does, because if he can get 2 world class, whether you can even attract that, but if we can just sort out, like, Kulu, he's not going to set the world on fire, but he's a good player. He's a great squad rotation player. He's even starting now for us. It just shows. I've said it on the last podcast, how we've got 2 players that have come from abroad, from another, that aren't getting into another top side, that can suddenly walk into our side. It's like, and we'll be sat here saying, well, we should be fighting for Champions League. How do we deserve to fight for Champions League when we've lost 17 games this season? We can't do the basics. We're letting someone who, other than the name, his name's ridiculous. He's scored a ridiculous amount of goals. But even the things like, look at their set pieces. They scored 1 in 150 corners. And then Ronaldo goes and scores a header from a corner. It's like, out of everyone to mark, he's the one you mark. It's just so basic. And if we find it boring, Conte, he must be bored out of his skull, just because you can only tell someone so many times. Yeah. So, but I know I went off topic, and you were saying about the away, the whole away, but we've been struggling at home, so we need to sort home first. We've lost to Southampton and Wolves at home. They're games we should have won. I wouldn't be sat here maybe as annoyed because we would have got those 6 points, and then we'd be closer to top 4. We've lost so many pathetic games. You can only moan about it so much every time. It's the same stuff. Oh, we were shit at crossing. We were shit. We couldn't get the ball in the box. Oh, Son had a bad performance. Oh, why didn't we play Lucas? It's like, there's so many broken. We're broken in so many different parts of the pitch, and it's up to Conte to obviously fix this. I talk like we're in bloody, like, we're in the bottom half. I imagine being an Everton fan right now.
It's expectations, though, isn't it? And not being funny. A lot of people will sit there and say, "Oh, I hate this word. Oh, entitled Tottenham fans." But I sit there and say, when you've been where we have as a club, fighting for titles and top 4, yes, entitlement kind of does come with that, because you are expecting, well, this is where the club is, new stadium, new training ground, increased revenue. Yes, I don't expect to suddenly drop off a cliff. My entitlement thinks, well, we're still going to be up there and challenging for things. So I don't think it's entitlement. It's the expectations that we've been set. And yes, we should be expecting that from where we are as a club. We are one of the top clubs in the country, but we're just not acting like it anymore. And we've dropped off a cliff well below those top clubs. Ryan, do you always worry about us when we go away to those top 6 grounds? Is there always that fear of, like, even seasons when we've been better than Arsenal, we've always still gone to the Emirates and struggled, haven't we? Is there that barrier, do you think, of that top 6 ground, pressure to put a performance in, and ultimately those players can't handle that pressure?
It's not just the top 6 for me, Cole. I've been a Tottenham fan for over nearly 25 years. Any game with Tottenham worries me now. It don't matter if it's top 6 or bottom 3. Like I say, we've gone away to Burnley and lost, dropped points at home, Southampton, Wolves. It's a curse. It feels like sometimes. Even though you wouldn't change it, none of us would change who we support. We all love them, and I think that's what frustrates us the most. I mean, going to an Arsenal Emirates, the teams on paper, you look at it and you say, we are a better team than Arsenal. Same against Man Utd the other night. You look at paper and you say we are better on paper. We are better than Man United, but we've just got so many mistakes in those players you look at. It's hard to get away from. And these mistakes in this league, especially, cost you every game because you make a mistake against Burnley. They're very, as bad as they are going forward and lack of goals defensively, they are very strong. They've had the same partnership now, centre partnership since I think 2016, I think. So going against them, you're going to struggle going forward. Against the top six, the way we apparently play at the minute, the way we set up now, it should suit us down to a T. Your Liverpools, your Chelseas, Man U, Cities. Let them have the ball, and we will play this counter-attack game that we now have taken on. I mean, obviously, it's a big change from the Poch days where you know how we're going to play. No matter who you're against, you're going to want to dominate the ball. On the Poch, it was basically, we'll outscore you. You score this many, we'll score more than you. Now, it's gone too far backwards now under Mourinho, under Nuno. Now, Conte's inherited this squad, and I'm exactly the same as Max. I will back Conte, and I hope he stays in the summer, and I hope he's backed properly, because if he is, then, like I say, it's a new season for him, new squad, new managers. But this top six voodoo, I mean, like I say, how many times have we lost to Chelsea this season? I think at one point it was we lost to them 3 times in a month, didn't we? At one point this year. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
I know they've got all this stuff going on at the minute, but you watch Newcastle yesterday. Newcastle had got the penalty that they should have got against Chelsea yesterday. They could have won that game if they scored the penalty. Obviously, the game changes after that, but we just it's
that'd have been given against us.
Oh, yeah. Massively. 100%.
Still, though, ultimately, though, as well, one thing in that game with Chelsea Newcastle, ultimately, you still knew who was winning that game. Whereas with Spurs, we're not that side, are we? Where you can sit there and go, you never feel confident that even if we don't play well, we'll still grind the result out. While it was 0-0, you just thought Chelsea will win this game. If Spurs are 0-0 with someone, you're sitting there thinking, there's no confidence that we're still going to win this. It's all right. Don't worry. We'll do what we need to, nick the goal.
The problem is with that is I don't even know. There's only one way teams come at us. We can play against them and win. We're so used to teams like, that's why we beat Man City, because they throw the kitchen sink and there's so much space in the defence to play over the top. But let's say teams like Burnley, they sit back a bit. United, they just have, I'm not saying United sit back, but it's different play styles, and Chelsea know how to adapt to that. I mean, we can't compare ourselves to Chelsea at all. Obviously, at the moment, we couldn't get near them. They can pull out those results, like you just said, when they look like it's going to go to the end. It's literally 90th minute, great ball over top. I mean, and Havertz that touch, and it actually reminded me of the Dele Alli finish that we scored against them. That instant first touch, and then boom, back in there it's mad, but. How they dig that out, the play styles are completely different. If you know it's not working, they'll change it, and they've got the players to do that. We've got some absolute bozos in midfield and over the pitch that just don't know how to. They only know one thing. It's like Sanchez. Oh, I can't pass forward, pass backwards. That's or winks. Oh, side to side football. It's never. Can I like dig deep? I need to fight for this club. It's all well and good in interviews saying we're going to do better next time. Oh, I'm sorry this. I'm sorry that. It's so repetitive, and I hate repetitive stuff. It'd be like going and watching the same happen every time, and that's literally what we're watching.
So Patrick, obviously, and what Max says there is something that I thought in the second half. We go in 2-1 down, and you think, well, we've created the better chances. We look dangerous, but the problem then comes with the second half. United's decide let them have the ball, and now we just defend what we've got. We really don't have the creativity in the side to break sides down, do we? And like as Max said, unless you've got a City who are not going to divert from their game plan, which is, listen, we're going forward and we're going to put everything into this. The minute a team decide 2 banks of 4, just keep it tight, don't give them the space that they want. We don't have those players with the guile and craft, do we, to suddenly open a team up with through balls, look to do something different. As Max said, certain players, Winks and Højbjerg, can get it, But if there's not the obvious forward pass, it's I'll turn backwards. We go back to the centre backs. It moves across the line, doesn't it, to the right-sided wing back. He cuts back in, gives it backwards. We go over to the left. We try it there. No, right. Let's go back over to the right. We just don't have those players, do we, that can suddenly go, right, I'm going to try something different here. We're going to put some through balls. We're going to, 1-2s, quick movement. And that's where ultimately that second half, United just knew, don't do nothing silly here, and they've got to try and break us down.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're lacking in quality, man. Like Ben Davies, the ball came to him. So we had so much of the ball, and every time it got to certain positions, it was just a negative or we gave it away. Ben Davies just giving the ball away for no reason. He's so poor on the ball. He can't pass. The ball runs past him, then he panics and he just gives it away. Højbjerg, I thought had a decent game, but he's not the best at obviously a final ball or a through ball. So I know that's not his job, but ideally you want someone that can do a bit of both. He has done it now and again, but he seems to struggle in a Spurs shirt, but he looks better on the ball when he plays for Denmark. I don't know what it is, but he's not that great on the ball. But he had a good game, so I don't want to dig him out. Bentancur, who was meant to be that guy, had a really poor game, and he looked like he didn't want to be out there. After the first 15 minutes, the game wasn't going his way, and he didn't really step up to the mark and just try to push through it. He just shoulders dropped, and you could see he didn't really want to be out there. And then you've just got the fullbacks. For me, they're just so shit. Like, just got to be honest. Reguilon going forward is not good. He's not good going forward. He's got a lot of mistakes in him. Defensively, he's not good either. Doherty has looked good in certain games, but Saturday was a quick snap back to reality, and we saw the old Doc. Poor going forward, poor defensively, doesn't know what he's doing. He gets the ball, he panics and just passes it backwards. It's always a backwards diagonal pass from Doherty or Ben Davies. So we're just going nowhere fast. And the thing is, we actually play a decent brand of football and we have a good spine. So if we just get some good players in, we could be a real force next season. But we just need to actually be aggressive in the market and go for the players that Conte wants. Because there is the markings of a good team there. And if you think back, it's a while ago, but if you think back to when Klopp first came to Liverpool, it was the same issues there. They were inconsistent. They'd win one, lose one, win two, lose one. The same stuff that we're going through now. It is what happens when a new manager comes in and he's trying to change the players and the ethos and the mentality. But he needs his players, and then we can be a good team again. We're obviously going to push and see how well we can do this season. I do think now, obviously, top 4 is achievable, but I don't think it's realistic. We just got to try and finish as high up, finish in the top 6, and then go again. Anything outside the top 6 will be a travesty, in my opinion. I think, unfortunately for us, Arsenal are too far ahead. Unless they have some major whoppers, they should get 4th now. They are pretty much locked in from where they are.
They played some great football yesterday.
Yeah,
I don't know if you see that.
You just got to be honest, man. You got to be honest. They are a good team right now. They're clicking into gear. They played Leicester off the park. They made the game look easy. Leicester were no mugs. Leicester went into that 4 games on the bounce, and Arsenal just completely battered them, like in every aspect. So yeah, you just got to be real. Arsenal has some tough games. That's our only solace. They got some tough games, and if they lose 1 or 2, then they could panic. And if we win our games, but this is the thing, we've got to win our games. And right now, can we see us putting 2 or 3 on the spin again? I'm not sure. And even United have got to win 2 or 3 on the bounce. And both of us are just as inconsistent as each other. So that's why, for me, if we're being real, Arsenal should get it now because they can actually put games together, which is something we've all struggled with. So yeah, it's a bit mad, but just got to be real.
So obviously, let's talk about one guy who, like I say, has copped a lot of flack after this one, Max, and that's Son and his performance in that second half, and the fact that he managed to stay on the pitch and Kulusevski was taken off, which I was a bit like, well, that's a madness sub to me. The game Son is having, you take Son off right now, and that's the change you make. We've said before, haven't we, on this pod, that with Son, you either get world class or suddenly a player that kind of goes missing. Now, one of the things that really frustrates me at the moment with Son is when he picks the ball up, turns, but very quickly looks to then give the ball inside to someone like Højbjerg, where I say, you're the creative player, you take the ball on from here and you look to create something. Don't give it away so quickly. what is he world class, Son? Where do you put him in the bracket as player? We know he's important to us, but he does seem to have these games where it's either hit or miss, doesn't he? There's no middle ground with Son.
It's such a tough one because obviously you start him no matter what. In my eyes, stats don't lie. He's banged goals even when Kane's not in the side for us. So the goals and assists, like they've come and they'll continue. It's so strange though. It's honestly like he's your perfect example. As does he just have like one system of style of play? He can't adapt his game. He can't drop and be like an attacking midfielder. He can't be that number 10. He literally is cutting sign from the wing now and try and find Kane or try and have a shot. That's literally, we don't actually see him beat that many players. I can't actually remember the last time I've seen someone like really knock it down the wing and run onto it and put one in the box. He's not that sort of winger. He's that one. He's like, give and go. Like, I'll pass you, I'll run over the top. It's kind of like when Mahrez and Vardy used to play. Do you remember? And Mahrez would always over the top. How many goals did they score that season with Mahrez over the top? You could argue that was like Kane and Son the other season. So he's literally, he is our main man other than Kane. But when it comes to substituting, you need to sometimes put a player in their place. Like, no one's bigger than the club. No one is bigger than the club. And Kulu's having a great game. Why not get Lucas on, who can maybe change things up? You know, he can turn on a sixpence. He's fast. He's especially in like the 80th minute. And if you're losing, imagine bringing Lucas on against Harry Maguire in the 80th minute. Are you telling me he wouldn't even have like one chance? Or you know, when he picks the ball up in midfield and runs like to the edge of the box, Son doesn't even do that. I'm not here to obviously moan at Son because I love him and he's obviously given us some great moments. But when it's not going your favour, you need to be able to change things up. And maybe I don't know, maybe Conte's gonna have something up his sleeve. But for the time being, it's just we can see it. Son, you're having a bad game. Why is Kulu going off? It's literally right in front of us. We've just seen it, a perfect example, and it's just so frustrating. I don't know what it is, whether it's just when they're in the front three like that, it's obvious. It's easy subs. It's if you're playing Sunday League football, you're getting subbed off, right? So why does it matter who you are and who you're playing against? Just he's not the sort of. I don't think he'd get on with it. Like I don't know. I don't know whether it's an ego thing. I don't know whether he'd moan or he might even have something in his contract saying you can't take me off if I'm playing shit. I don't know. It could be. It can be a number of things. But
I just think that Conte probably trusts Son and Kane, even if they're having stinkers. They are that good that they can pull something out. But Son was just having a bad game. He kept falling over as well.
Slipping over all the time, wasn't he?
Yeah,
slipping every 5 seconds.
So frustrating. Every time he was in or he got the run on someone, he kept falling over. So I don't know if he's wearing the wrong studs or the wrong boots. But yeah, he just had a bad game, and it happens. You can be excellent and have a bad game, and he is having a few bad games, but he is still so good. He's still one of the best players in the league, but he is having a bad patch. But yeah, he should have got subbed off. I don't really get why he didn't. But then also saying that Conte's looking at the bench, and do you really trust any of the other guys?
Nothing there.
Yeah, that's the problem. We are threadbare. I know you got some names like Bergwijn and Lucas, but if we're being real, their stats are atrocious. Bergwijn's had the 2 goals against Leicester, but realistically, those guys aren't doing it either. So when he looks at his bench, there's not really anyone to turn to, and this is the problem. So I kind of do understand why he kept him on, because Son and Kane on their day, or even any moment, they can get you a goal out of nothing. So it's like, what, you know, it's hard, isn't it?
And we only see that 90 minutes of football. We don't see the build up to the game in the dressing room. We don't see all of that. We just see a few pictures of them smiling before the game or a day before. You see a couple of clips from the highlights, and then you see them coming out the tunnel to play. You don't. It's so hard, isn't it? It's like if you've got a best friend at school back in the day and you're playing. If he's playing, you're like, yes, I'm gonna have a good game today. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. It's just that's how it works. They obviously build up relationships, and Kane and Son do have that relationship. Obviously, the goals and assists stat speaks for itself. So if you're Conte and whoever was managing Spurs, those two, you're just saying, those two, you've got to pray they do the business, because if they don't, like Pat said, where do I look?
Own goals. You got to bring own goals off the bench.
Yeah, get Harry Maguire in.
Ryan, do you kind of, because I kind of agree with Max what he said there about Son, unfortunately, which is unless you're playing a team that play to his strengths, which are a team that are going to naively push a high line and give Son that space in behind, or he gets a chance to cut in. He does need to adapt his game, because whereas that player, as Max said, who can pick the ball up, take players on, has that confidence to I run with the ball, skillful with it, that seems to have kind of left him, doesn't it? In a way, that confidence where he could do that has seemed to drain away from him a little bit. And like I say, unless you've got those teams again, a bit like Everton, City, who are not going to change their game, or they're that abysmal that they can't contain it, he does struggle, doesn't he, a little bit?
He does, yeah. But I will always put Son in the world class bracket. I mean, he is having a bad patch. His form is up and down at the minute, but he still does
with the team,
yeah,
though, isn't
yeah,
it? His form is replicating the side, isn't it?
Yeah,
I guess.
It's not just him. It's but like I said, he's still pulling the numbers this season. He's still top scorer. I'm sure. I think he's got the most assists for us.
He does, yeah. He's got the joint top goals with Kane now, because Kane got the penalty, and joint and top assists. And even if you look across the board in terms of the league, his stats are up there with the best players right now. So it's crazy, because we know he's not having a great game, but he's still up there with the top performers. So it just goes to show.
I suppose one of the frustrations you could have as well is Conte seems for me to make like for like subs. I'm bringing a centre midfielder off, I'm bringing a centre midfielder on. You could have argued on Saturday, could you not have brought Lucas on in place of Bentancur or Højbjerg, with the view to say, well, listen, if we're losing this game, I may as well now go out and try and do something different. And now I've got 4 players on the pitch who can potentially do something.
Just take Ben Davies off. Bring Lucas on, take Ben Davies off, go for a battle forward. Do you know what? The biggest thing I have about Sonny is at the minute, I think he's just too emotional during a game. I think if he first 5-10 minutes, if it hasn't gone his way, if he's not getting as much of the ball, if he's not beat a player, if he's not had a shot, I think his emotions just get the better. I think he gets so frustrated during a game that once that's happened to him, you don't see the Son. I mean, like I say, that wonder goal against Burnley, that was a happy Son. He had a good game that game, and he's not afraid to pick the ball up and beat players and do what he can. But when he's unhappy, if he's not got the ball when he feels he should have received it, if he's not had a shot on target, if he's not put in a good ball or made it's as if his head just drops immediately, and he just imagines himself playing like this for 90 minutes. Whereas you've got a different player next to him in Harry Kane. Whereas if he's picked the ball up, if he's put the first shot he has into row Z, his next thing in mind is that shot's going to be on target, whether it's in or not. If I get the ball next and I have another shot, that is. I don't see Sonny like that. I see one mistake or one frustration in his game. That's it. Then for the rest of the game, his head will drop unless somehow he gets a tap in or something to up his game. And you see what he's like in the training ground. Like I say, I'm the same as Max. I'm sick of seeing the same interviews or tweets of "we'll do better next time. We're fighting for this club. We want the best." I don't want to see it on Twitter. I don't want to see it on YouTube. I want to see it against Man United on the pitch. That's where just do you talking on the pitch, and that goes for Son as well. I'm fed up of seeing the Tottenham admin put pictures of Son smiling. That's great. You're being paid a shit ton of money to train 3 hours a day. No wonder you're smiling. We don't want to see you smiling on the training ground. We want to see you smiling at the end of 90 minutes because you've either bagged 2 goals and assist, anything contributed to a win. That's when, as Tottenham fans, want to see him smiling. I don't care about training. I don't care if he's megged someone doing a drill in training. I'm not bothered. I want to see all of them come out after a game. And if it's a tweet of great win, we'll keep going. Yes, we like that. We're all up. We're all on cloud 9 because we've won. I'm sick of seeing, like, I know obviously he's saying it's Højbjerg after every game at the minute. Like I said, I think he had a decent game on the Saturday. He did his job. He was a defensive midfielder. He broke up play, got the ball, gave it to a Kulusevski or a Son or a Kane to create something, but it always seems like they send him out after a game to repeat the same message of, we'll go again next game.
Yeah, we're not giving up. Yeah, the same shit. Yeah,
it bores me now.
Mm.
It just genuinely bores me. I want to see them do it on, because they've got the talent. Some of the players, not all of them, obviously. There's some players that you need to ship off, and some players that you can build it around. But like this summer couldn't be more important for us at all as a club. This summer needs to be a 10 out of 10. Otherwise, it could go even further downhill from where we are.
Yeah, so that speaks about something else that happened during the game, and it's something that for me, I'm not a big fan of. Some fans seem to really get off on it, and for me, it's not a big thing. It is the Romero shithousery, if you like, with Maguire when he scores the own goal. Now, like I say, some fans seem to really enjoy the shithousery thing, and players like Eric, Lamela had made a career off of just stamping on a toe, and people were forgetting about this 4 or 5 years of dross. Lo Celso was another one that when he come in, like to do silly little things, and people are like, the prime shithousery. But I'm like, yeah, but the bloke was crap for 90 minutes. And if he'd been better, we probably would have won that game. And that's what would give me more enjoyment than seeing him poke someone in the eye. Patrick, what was your view on the Romero thing? Is that sort of thing that you don't mind seeing? Or is it the sort of thing that you think, mate, until the game's won, this is something that just don't do it. Don't wind someone up.
You know what? I didn't see it in real time, to be honest. So when people were talking about it and tweeting and stuff, I was like, what happened? And then when I saw it, I was like, okay. And then straight away, I got a tweet in the group saying like the picture of Romero screaming, shouting at him. And it said like things that precede unfortunate events. And then it showed obviously the Ronaldo header. So I was like, here we go. So yeah, it came back to bite him and us in the ass. But I don't know, man. I don't mind it if we're winning games and if we win the game, but obviously when we lose, then it's I'm not too sure. I to be fair, Carl, I don't really care as long as we're putting in the performances. Let him be that guy that is. We do need, because if everyone's soft and the same, and not to dig Harry Kane out because he's an exceptional player and I love the guy, but if everyone's got Kane's temperament, we're going to be too nice and too soft. So you need a bit of everything. You need different personality. So I don't mind it, but get the job done first, or make sure you get the job done, because lo and behold, he screams in Harry Maguire's face, but then he makes the mistake for Ronaldo's third goal. He's culpable. People will talk about Matt Doherty, but he's the one that let Ronaldo get the run in. And Ronaldo's the most dangerous player on the pitch, especially from a set ball piece. We know how good he is in the air.
Him and Maguire were the two players that you just have to say, right, from set pieces.
Exactly. Maguire is also a dangerous one as well. But Ronaldo had the three. As soon as he met it, I was like, this is a goal. You knew straight away. And I was like, they've won this game. And the thing is, we just didn't seem like we could get back in the game. I don't know what it was. Like, we had all the ball, but we just couldn't. I didn't see us scoring. As soon as they scored, I knew we had lost it. And Reguilón doing what he did just summed it up, didn't it? That was just like, that just summed up our day. Kane was open on the back stick. All he had to do was control it and cross it. That's an everyday thing for a footballer of his level. And then he goes to control it with the wrong leg. The ball goes out.
Even first time, just a cross.
I know, just straight across. It's so standard.
Or it's a volley, isn't it? From there, that close. You're saying, especially a player who is left-footed.
It's so
you say,
weird.
Well, it was the perfect ball for a left footer, and the limp hanging out of a right foot was just like, I'm not sure what.
Summed us up, man. I don't know what was going on there. Just summed us up.
Max, what about you, the Romero incident? What's your is that something you like seeing, or something that you're not too keen on?
I'd say that's a massive reason why a lot of people might say they miss Lamela, because no one misses him for like 30-yard screamers and all of this. You just missed them for doing little bits here and there. Like, obviously he weren't good enough, so he moves on. Like, Romero actually looks like a solid player. Looks like one that we could keep for years, and I'd be happy with, because obviously he's still young. He's built like a brick house. He's not afraid to put an elbow in here and there. I think you need that. 100% you need that, because it adds a bit of a fear factor as well to some of the players that are playing against him. I mean, throughout the years, there's been players out there that have always been dirty. How do you think the likes of like Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira, obviously they've got the ability, but they've also got this like nastiness about them. You don't see it very often these days. I'm not going to sit here and say Roy Keane was an unbelievable footballer. He was in that an unbelievable side, but that's how when I look at Roy Keane, he always looks angry now, just in the studio, and that's why Micah Richards gets on his back, because like it's just like, you know. But I feel like you definitely need that. I feel like it could depend who Romero has next to him. Whether Dyer's meant to come across as a bit of like a hard nut with this weird haircut he's got going on. I don't know where, but we need them. We need them really, because I can't see the two centre backs changing anytime soon. So they need to be working with each other. They need to form up, especially if we're going to play 5 at the back. Like Davis, let's face it, isn't always going to be there. So you could argue that it's just a defensive revamp in the summer. Like I'll be more than happy with that. There's no point us saying, "Oh, I'll get another Kane replacement," like, or someone that's gonna like come off the bench, because that ain't gonna happen. We've been saying that for years. Ain't gonna happen. The defense, we can see that's where it needs doing. Conte can see it. It's just we need to get there, and how we get there, it's gonna be a. I don't even know where we'd finish if it stays win loss, because we definitely ain't getting fourth if that's the case. Like West Ham. We shouldn't even be worried about playing West Ham, and they're looking like a team that are proper up for it this season as well. Like they're coming to us on Sunday. They're probably going to think, why can't we win this? Why can't we? 100%. That Antonio, perfect example again. He puts a foot in. He's massive. He'll stamp on toes. He'll pull shirts. Like that's their sort of player that does that. And you could argue we haven't got that kind of since we've lost a bit of shit housery. Like even Dembele had it a little bit.
Yeah.
And we don't. We're always too soft. Always.
So let's have a look.
Yeah,
then.
You need it.
Let's have a look then at where we think this season is going to go, because obviously we've got Brighton in the week away from home, and if you look at their run of form, they're playing us at the perfect time for them. And then obviously we're going to follow that up with the West Ham at home. Me personally, I'm not too confident about the next 2 games. I don't see us getting anything against Brighton, and I think West Ham will come and spoil the party on Sunday. So, Ryan, what do you think about these next 2 games? How are you feeling? Confident, or do you see a win in these next 2 games?
Do you see this badge, Carl? I'm never confident. I'm never confident when it comes. Like say, Brighton hasn't scored in 4 or 5 league games now.
It's a run of 5 defeats now for them. And
like you say that. You should be going to teams like this and just wiping them out for 90 minutes, whether it's a 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 win. These are games like we had at Burnley, where you go into these games, just get the 90 minutes done, get the win, move on to the London Derby at the weekend. That's what Tottenham should do. But you just know that within the first 5-10 minutes, they're going to get a goal. That Brighton Stadium will be absolutely rocking, because that's the first goal they've seen for 4 or 5 games. And then they'll sit back, and it will just be 75, 80 minutes of Tottenham trying to break them down, struggling in terms of that. And I'm not confident for Brighton. I don't think we'll win on Wednesday. I said this after the Man Utd game. I know it's a bit like, obviously you look at the form at the minute, it's always win loss. That's not going to keep happening. As much as people are holding their hopes up for that, it's not going to keep happening. But even like you say, like Max has just said about the West Ham game, it's at home. We should be going into that game dominating, whether they're fighting for top 4, doing well in the Europa League. We should still go into that game with West Ham at home, in front of 60,000 Tottenham fans, dominating that game, giving them all something to go home to smile about. I mean, look at, like, if I'm not, obviously you can't compare the stadium, they're completely different, but the last stadium at White Hart Lane was like, that's the home form you need. If you're going to challenge for anything, that's the home form, undefeated all season at home. And this is what this stadium was built for a team to challenge for titles and trophies, Champions League season after season. Yet 90% of Tottenham fans are we're not nervous, but you're not confident in beating West Ham at home. That's not how we should be. We should be going into that game excited for the London Derby, a full house at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, expecting 3 points. But I mean, we've said all night, if one or Kane or Son don't turn up, and you know you've got a problem waiting to happen in defence, it's I don't know what you could be excited for at the minute. That's why I'm praying that this summer, and I'm exactly the same as Max. I would rather them go out and buy right wing back, left wing back, centre back. I would rather them just concentrate on the defence this summer and get an actual unit at that back, because we've got Kane, we've got Son who could score goals. Kulusevski has proven he's 7 games in, 2 goals, 3 assists. He can chip in with goals. But if you could shore up that defence and maybe get a centre midfielder in who can actually play ball, who can actually get the ball forward and make assists, then that's it. But right now, as a fan of this club, I'm expecting 8th or 7th for the rest of this season.
Wow.
Thing is, you go into
sorry, Max. Go on, Max. Keep going.
We just go into every game just not knowing what Tottenham you're going to get, and that's why it's so. That's why so many people are like, I don't know. Like I love going to games. Don't get me wrong, and I'm normally always so optimistic. But like at the old stadium, obviously there's no point talking the past. But I would go to games like we're at home. Like I don't care who we're playing. Like we'll win. We're going to win today. I go to games now, and I'm getting scared by someone Antonio, someone who like isn't even a regular for like their national country and things like that, and it's demoralising because you know it's going to happen. West Ham are going to score. They're scoring on Sunday. It's just whether we score more than them. And the Brighton game, I'm no disrespect to them, but that's a tough one. I don't think we're going away there to win. That's a great away win if we actually do get all 3 points there. And we bloody need it going into the West Ham game, because if we don't get anything at Brighton, if worst goes to worst, then that West Ham game is huge. It's huge anyway. But imagine we lose to Brighton and then got West Ham. That would be 3 losses in a row, and then suddenly full spot's done and dusted after that. By the way, if we don't beat, if we lose our next 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick, obviously here Kumar is quite confident by the looks of it. You know. How are you feeling, Patrick, about these next 2 games?
I'm with Kumar. I don't know about you, Debbie Downers. Jesus, like the way you lot are talking, like when a relegation.
Bro, you don't know how much Man United away cost me, bro. And I lose, and I always see that Portuguese prick for a hat trick.
Yeah, man. I mean, trust me, I'm just as gutted as you are, but we're not losing to Brighton. Come on, and we're gonna beat Brighton and we're gonna beat West Ham. I can give you that now. The thing is, like, yeah, we lost to Man United, but we shouldn't have lost that game. We weren't shit in that game. We actually played quite well. It wasn't a game of great quality. No one was electric, but we were actually the better side. We just let ourselves down in silly moments. But I can't see us losing to Brighton. I think we're beating them quite comfortably. They're not the same Brighton of last year. It's weird because Graham Potter is a good manager and they have some good players there, but they haven't been great. We should win, and I think we'll get our revenge back on West Ham. They beat us 1-0 at their stadium. That was a bitty game. I think we'll beat them as well. So, yeah, I don't think we're finished 4th now. I'm hoping that I'm wrong, and obviously we can go on a run, and obviously other teams drop out. But we're definitely finishing in the top 6. I fully believe that. If we beat West Ham, well, actually saying that, we've got a game before that, but we can go into the West Ham game level on points with them. Do they play midweek as well? I'm not sure if they do.
I think they've got their Europa. If they got their Europa second leg, haven't they?
We can go into the West Ham game level on points with them, having played like 2 games less. Or our goal difference is worse than theirs. So we'll go in, unless we batter Brighton by 5 or 6, we'll go in with a few goals less than them on the goal difference. And then if we beat them, then we go above them. So we ain't finishing 8th or 7th. But we just need to string some wins together. Saturday's game was demoralizing because we should have won it. We all expected to win it as well. That's what hurts the most. But yeah, it's not that bad yet. So
I think ultimately, as Max said, though, if we don't pick up, let's say minimum 4 points from these next 2 games, top 4 is then definitely finished, isn't it? If you was to lose these next 2, then the top 4 is definitely done, isn't it?
I think if we don't get maximum points, so as in 6, then we're out of it. Because if I look now, I know Arsenal, they got a good gap on us. Arsenal are 6 points ahead of us, and they've played.
And they've still got the games.
Yeah, they played a game less. They played 1 game less than us, so that's not as bad. But yeah, we just need to win our games. If we win our games, then things become a lot. Because Arsenal should lose to Liverpool tomorrow. So, on Wednesday, sorry. But we need to win our game. We need to just win our games and then let the rest land where it lands. But yeah, we need to win our games. As simple as that.
So let's go for some predictions then before we finish up. So Max, Brighton Wednesday. What are you predicting for that one?
Did you say they haven't scored in 4?
I think it's something like that at the
scored in
moment.
Yeah. That means they're scoring, but no, I'm gonna go for a 3-1. Just as long as they're not the team that scores first, because then they'll just.
No, they
win
scored against Newcastle. I'm just looking at the results. They scored. They lost 2-1 to Newcastle, so they scored in that game. But other than that, yeah, a lot of.
No, I'll go for a 3-1. 3-1
Yeah.
Spurs.
3-1. Ryan.
You know what? This is why I love Pat. I love the man's confidence, and
He's talked you round, doesn't he? He's talked you round.
I come in on a Monday on a diner, and Pat just lifts.
Come on, man. We've got to put things into perspective. We're in a bit of a slump, but we're not that bad. Jeez, otherwise we'd be like 12th, 13th, 14th. We're not that bad.
I mean, the problem with Tottenham, we're going into these games needing the wins, just like we was with Burnley and Wolves and Southampton. I hate predicting that we'll lose, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna go for a 2-1 Spurs win.
Yes, Ryan, let's go.
Patrick, 6-0 for you.
I wish that'd be great for the goal difference, but like Max, I think a 3-1 now is realistic. I think we'll beat them 3-1.
So for me, I'm gonna be the downer in the group, and I'm gonna say I think we're gonna lose 2-1 in the week, unfortunately. I know. I'm very sorry, chaps. And West Ham, Max, what do you think about the West Ham game then as well?
Really, you got to do me like that? It's so hard to call because they're flying.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're a good team.
And they've made They've made our ground a nice one for them so far.
Saying that, guys, just before they've got a tough game on Thursday that they have to win, and they have to put a strong squad out. So that does go in our favour.
Yes, they do. And I wouldn't ever say I want injuries, but it'd be nice to see a couple. Like just keep them out for the keep them out for the weekend. Like
Souček,
Bowen,
and Antonio, and possibly Yarmolenko as well.
Yeah,
they've got no bet.
But no, all right, we'll go for a 2-1 late winner.
Oh, 2-1.
A late Sonny winner.
To bury the ghost. Yeah. Ryan, Sunday, West Ham. What are we going for?
I'm going for a high scorer in that one. I think we'll beat them 4-2.
Nice.
4-2. Wow, that is big, Ryan. That is big. Nice. And Patrick, West Ham.
Yeah, it will be tough. I hope Ryan's right, and it's quite a comfortable one. But I think London Derby, they're going to be up for it. It's going to be quite a tentative, edgy game. I think a 2-1 is realistic. So yeah, 2-1. Because I'd probably say a 1-0 on previous times, but they will probably score. So we're going to have to get to 2-1.
2-1. Oh, you boys are going to hate me.
Oh, come on, not again, man.
Really? Not even one winner?
I'm going a 1-0 defeat on Sunday, unfortunately. No. I know. Listen, I know. I will have a word with myself after this. Trust me. I'll go upstairs and have a serious word with myself. But I've already done the predictions for what I think for the rest of the season.
No, I saw it, and I was going to put
that's where I'm going, unfortunately.
Boy, oh boy. Let's hope you're wrong, man.
Let's hope I'm wrong. I am hoping more than me. Trust me. Right. I think that brings us to the end of tonight's session. So let me just say thanks to the guests. So Max, really appreciate coming on again tonight, mate. Hopefully you enjoyed that and it's given you a bit of therapy.
Certainly has, mate. Thanks for having me.
And where can everyone find you, Max?
Plain simple, Joe Max for the vlogs all up and down the country when I can. Obviously every home game, the odd away game, and I have just started posting on my TikTok again. So nice. If anyone wants to check that out, that would be great. I don't know how it's happened, but I've put up the clips from the United game, and they've blown up over there. So
sweet, nice.
We'll see what happens.
Is it the same screen name? Is it the same screen name, Joe Max on TikTok as well?
I think it's Joe Max 93.
Let us know so that we can all follow you and stuff.
Definitely get over there because Max is putting some good stuff out.
I need you to defend me in the comments because it's been getting
Oh, they've been getting at you, yeah.
Oh, bro, I've had to just turn it off.
Oh man,
we'll all get over there. Turn them back on. We'll get in there after this. So cheers, appreciate you coming on, Max. We look forward to having you on again soon, mate. Ryan, appreciate your time tonight, and again, hopefully this has let you get some stuff off your chest that you wanted to after the weekend.
Oh yeah, massive. Like I said, brother Patrick, he always lifts me up on a Monday. Always brings me back down to earth when it comes to Spurs. Obviously, Carl, thank you for having me on every week. Love the show. It'd be great to have Max. Like I say, I will come and defend you, Matt. I think Pat's putting out too many of his own fires at the minute.
And I'm you see, people are always gunning for me, man. Like literally, so I've got to, fight my own battles as well. It's all good.
Nice one. And Patrick, again, another sterling performance, mate.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Hopefully you won't go missing for too long this week.
Imagine if I didn't look at my phone for a couple of hours. I would have just been getting it left, right, and center and not even realize. So yeah, I've got to always be on my P's and Q's because all these guys, they're gunning for us. But as always, I always rep Tottenham for the core, so it's all good. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Patrick Tyrant, all one word, and then on this show, of course, Views TV Official and the Football Terrace, and then I'm here, there, and everywhere. As people always invite me to jump on their pods. So yeah, all good.
Top stuff. So that just leaves us to wrap up then. So appreciate everyone who's joining tonight in the comments, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. We may have maybe a small little show after Brighton, but if not, we'll definitely be back on Monday after the West Ham game and hopefully talking about a win. So we'll see you then.
Hopefully 2 wins.
Two wins. And I, like I say,
even though you predicted a lot.
I will go and have a word with myself right now. Trust me. Guys, been a pleasure. See you soon.